Quad tendon reattached on my left knee, and I had my right knee completely replaced. Really cool operation from Nano Knee. Today, for the little milestones, the first day I was able to put on a pair of socks and a pair of shoes. It's funny when I tell people that I don't drink and I don't do this and whatever. There's always the question of why. Are you fucking lame? Are you a loser? Like what? What do you mean you don't drink? What do you like? Addiction can be hereditary, and obviously my dad was addicted to a lot of different things. My only freaking addiction is wrestling and training. As I wanted to be a pro wrestler, I wanted to be a superhero, right? But superhero business wasn't doing too good, so the pro wrestling business is what happened.
I think it's ironic you wanted to be a physical therapist. I would say that you yourself have more therapists at your disposal than anyone that I know.
So I racked up thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt, going out there chasing this dream. When people are too scared to chase their dream for fear of failing, when the only way to fail is to never try.
It's a privilege to be able to make a choice. Even if you're at your lowest, you can still make a choice of where you want to go.
Going to the gym, I felt like has helped me heal and recover because mentally I felt more positive, more optimistic, more like it felt great.
I promise you that physical challenges are far inferior than mental challenges.
My dad was a heavy drinker, but also he was heavily into drugs and this and that. My dad was a very successful person, and he did really well for himself. And then he lost it all, including his health and everything, and it's because of drugs and alcohol. I'm going to come back to the ring even better than what I was before because I'm going to be feeling better. And
all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another powerful episode of the 1% Club podcast. Today's guest is nothing short of an absolute powerhouse. 20 years in professional wrestling, WWE, Lucha Underground, AAA, TNA, and now AEW. He's performed all around the world. He's also the longest standing Redcon 1 athlete, a husband, a father of 3, and the living embodiment of perseverance. Brian Cage, welcome to the show, my man.
Hell yeah. What an intro. What an intro. I had double knee surgery. I had my quad tendon reattached on my left knee, and I had my right knee completely replaced. Really cool operation from Nano Knee. But today, for the little milestones, the first day I was able to put on a pair of socks and a pair of shoes.
Hell yeah.
It was a struggle. It was a struggle. I was even thinking I should have filmed this and like time lapse it because it took a long time, but it got on. It got on.
That's what we're showing you from the top up today. No, we'll get a whole bunch of B-roll because and we'll get into some really great questions of how that all ties in. All right, so the origin story, you got dream to reality. So Brian, take us back 10 years old, already knew you wanted to be a wrestler. That level of clarity is rare at such a young age. What was driving you back then, and how did you hold on to that vision for your life to unfold?
It just obviously, everybody's got like a childhood dream, or we'll even say fantasy. Because at the same time, I also wanted to be a pro wrestler, or as I wanted to be a pro wrestler, I wanted to be a superhero, right? But superhero business wasn't doing too good, so the pro wrestling business is what happened. But I want to do it, and everybody's kind of like, oh, like my mom's like, that's cute, you'll grow out of that, right? And I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. And my favorite, all-time wrestler, Shawn Michaels, the whole boyhood dream, like he wanted to be wrestling since he was 12. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm 10. I got him beat by 2 years. Let's go. And, here comes junior high. Everybody's like, oh, so, we're all talking about wrestling. It was popping. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. And everybody's like, oh, okay, but like, maybe not really. And then high school came, and the same thing. It was like, I mean, you're not going to really try to be a wrestler. I go, yeah. And even as I got closer to senior year, some of my really close friends were still kind of almost like, you're not really going to just pursue wrestling, right? Like, that's not, I go, yeah, dude, I've been screaming this for how long now? Like, yes, this is what I want to do. And my PE teacher from sophomore year was a big wrestling fan and knew how much I wanted to be a wrestler. And I always loved telling people because you think I was like naturally jacked. I was 155 pounds soaking wet when I graduated high school. And my PE teacher, Mr. Talarico from Pleasant Valley High School in Chico, California, nice little plug for him. He's like, hey, I got summer school this year. If you want, I'll open up the weight room if you want to come work out. Because I just started taking like personal fitness at school. That's how I started getting into weights. So I was like, all right, hell yeah. So that year when I graduated, I got up at like freaking 7 in the morning every morning, no matter how late I stayed up, and I would jog to my high school, which was no short distance, and then I would just started training. That's why I fell in love with training. And I was doing it with the discipline and like, all right, I gotta get jacked and look the part to be a wrestler. I don't want to show up to a wrestling school and get my money taken advantage of. And that's also for people who don't know, because a lot of people go, how do you get into wrestling? Just like everything else, there's a school for it. Where you go in there and They give you the boot camp style classes too, where they kill you and drill you with conditioning, and you learn all it's called progressions and all the basic bumps and rolls and everything else, and essentially you quote unquote graduate, right, and then you start performing in live events, and then it's like an indie rock band where you're out performing, for free or opening for someone, or you maybe getting paid $20 or you're selling merchandise or whatever until you gradually start working bigger venues, bigger shows, yada 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 yada. Instead of getting like a musical contract, then you hopefully get signed to one of the big deals. But it was the doubting from so many people, including, not to throw my family under the bus or even some close friends, but like I said, a lot of people really didn't want to see me, succeed in that. And let me correct, not succeed, but like they just didn't think that like I would be successful in that and to have like a safer venture. Like you don't really want to go pursue that.
Exactly.
I'm like, yeah, absolutely I do. And the one person actually that really was pretty strong belief in me was my grandma. But all the naysayers and the people kind of doubted me was like, are you kidding me? I go, that's fueling my ambition. I go, I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make this happen. So, and it wasn't an overnight success. I mean, it definitely took a lot of work. There was a lot of ups, a lot of downs. But here we are, 20 years later.
It's funny you say that because I remember being in high school and I was trying to tell my friends, yeah, I want to be a personal trainer, make $25 an hour. So at $25 an hour in high school is like
you're rich.
I was serving yogurt for $7 or $6.25. So I'm like, so no one believed that. Like, if you could say what that turned into now, and now I'm not practicing anymore. I'm running companies. So it's like all those things just prepare you for what's next. But the fact behind it is if you're so certain that you're going to do something inside of your head, you're the only person that can pull it off.
100%. It's you versus you, and that's like my determination on certain things is so strong-willed. And actually, a good friend of mine, Sandra, she was the other person that kind of believed in me. And same thing, she and my younger brother, Justin, both of them had the same idea. We're like, man, you're so like determined when you put your mind to something. He goes, I have no doubt that you're going to become a wrestler because you're not going to let yourself not become one. You know what I mean? You're so determined to make it happen. There is no what if you don't make it? Like, no, you're gonna make it.
Yeah, and it's funny because like ever since I've known you, it's like when someone I think they have to be forced to be entertaining.
Yeah.
It's like that's just who you are. Like it's like to me it's not acting because like I know you of the same.
Sure.
And I think anyone that knows you can say the same thing. Like it's like a genuine happiness when you get around you. Like you make everything fun.
Hey, and it's also funny with that too because also depending on what promotion and what year, what time period for wrestling. If I'm the quote unquote bad guy, and even in real life too, people don't know me, but they're like who see me and know me at the gym, like especially when if I have the mohawk and stuff, and I'm in the zone and I'm muscular, so I just kind of look like the meathead asshole kind of bully, like whatever, this guy sucks, and then people like talk to me, so especially if I'm in that persona too, where I'm just like if that's my role, where I'm like just the meathead, go out there beat somebody up and stuff somebody in the locker. You're like, oh, this guy kind of sucks, doesn't have as much personality or isn't that friendly or whatever. And then people get to like know me or talk to me like, holy crap, this guy's like way more outgoing, way nicer, way cooler, way more down to earth.
Yeah. And did you stuff anyone in the locker in high school?
I did not. If anything, I didn't get stuffed in the locker, but I was closer to getting stuffed in the locker than I was stuffing anyone in the locker. That's for sure.
I love that. So Plan B that became Plan A. So you study kinesiology and put in the work towards being a physical therapist, which is no joke. So even when you were still chasing wrestling, most people can barely handle one thing, let alone two. How did you balance both paths? And did academic knowledge give you an edge in wrestling?
So everything was fueled by my determination and desire to be a wrestler. So, academics wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but like, if I realized too, especially later in high school and even in college too, when I'm paying to do the schoolwork, I'm like, if you actually just do the work, it's not that hard. Not saying it's easy, but it's a lot easier if you actually do it.
Spent 80% thinking, when should I get this fucking thing done versus doing it, right?
Yeah. There's still a lot of like last minute, cramming in. But so I was like, okay, what am I into? I'm obviously started getting really into fitness and really into anatomy, and then I started thinking of things I could do that would lead me into WWE if I wasn't a wrestler. And one of those that was interesting to me, like I love their editing packages and stuff they put together. So I even thought about doing something, editing wise. Is like, but I wasn't as inclined to that and naturally fitted. And I was like, you know what really interests me is physical therapy stuff. I hadn't had a whole lot of injuries then or anything, but knowing the body and how it works and for everything going into it, I go, you know what, that sounds awesome. I think I really want to do that. And in worst case, that was why it was my plan B. Like, if I can't get into WWE as a wrestler, maybe I could get in as one of the trainers, taking care of the wrestlers. I'm like, that'd be awesome. And it's funny enough too, because also the sports science class I was in too in college, she was always trying to be an athletic trainer on the football team. I even thought that'd be amazing. So it's funny that you were, and then it's also eye opening too, like, if you feel like that would be like the pinnacle of like an athletic trainer. And even some of the trainers that we have at wrestling and AEW and the ones I've met in WWE, like, it's not all cracked up to be like not bearing it, but like maybe like the best job ever too. There's obviously a bunch of setbacks with that.
It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
You don't get paid very well. It's a lot of work, and everything gets dumped on you. And it's just an interesting. It's
all kind of your fault too,
dynamic.
right? As well.
Exactly. They always got, it's the new person. I brought this vendor, and it's got to be his fault. You know?
Yeah. So, I still enjoyed it. I was going to school for it, and then as I learned, which for what I wanted to do, like how much intern hours there was, I was like, oh my god, this is more of a plan A than a plan B. And then on top of that, like having done some stuff locally, obviously with the students and the student athletes, that was fun. But then if I did anything with like in the actual physical therapy office, I also quickly realized, like, more often or not, like, I mean, you work with a lot of high-end athletes, high-end people, but in a general physical therapy office, a lot of your clientele is just elderly people. And it's not nearly as fun then, and it's a little more.
And not that it's not important to take
of course.
care of them, man. If this is someone's first place that they're working here, they don't understand the blessing that it is to be able to work with the people that come in here.
Sure.
It truly makes everything fun. Even if you got to work on 12 people in a row.
Yeah.
It makes everything fun. I love the people that are here. I love the community that it's built. But yeah, in normal PT office, you're stuck working with 3 or 4 people at a time, and just half the people don't want to be there. Half the people got in the car accident. Now their attorneys forced them to go. It's just not very fun.
It's the same like to relate to personal training. When I was junior training, again, the general population that want to lose weight or gain weight, whatever their goal is, but they don't really want to. They just kind of want to pay and show up, and hopefully it magically happens, as opposed to an athlete of some sort who really wants it. You don't have to motivate them, and it makes it exciting to train with them.
Absolutely.
It's the same kind of vibe. So I was like, man, is that what I really want to do? And that's a lot of work for plan A, for plan B. And I go, and obviously the whole time I still wanted to do the wrestling, and I was working 2 jobs. I still was like, I never missed a day of training for wrestling or for working out. And even then, for the first semester especially, it went a little longer, but definitely the first semester, I was doing the 2 jobs, going to the gym, going to the freaking wrestling practice, all that stuff, on just a bike, by the way, too, at 10 speed. No car. The bus were out sometimes, but again, I would make it happen. So that's another thing too. When people would say, like, oh, I don't have time, I don't have this, I go, dude, you can make time. And because I was going to school and this and that, like, that's the only way to do it too. I had everything, and I'm very meticulous with my planning, but I have everything structured out. We're like, okay, I have this, and this. I can go here. I can do this then. I can do this then. And you just had to like map it all out week by week. And if you don't, then of course it's the whole, freaking plan to succeed, or if you fail to prepare, then you're preparing to fail.
I think that makes sense. When I used to ask you, how do you stay in such good shape when you're on the road all the time? And it's like, I can tell that the planning is methodical.
Oh, for sure.
Everything works around your plan,
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that's exactly what it is I sit there and plan ahead, like, okay, if I'm gonna be gone for this long, and I have to be here at this time, and where am I at in the hotel? Okay, closest gym's here, this is where the venue is, I have this food here, I can get this food from catering, okay, there's a meal prep service here. Like, and it sounds incredibly like time consuming, but it's really not. And once you get it down, it's really not that hard. But yeah, if you just go out there and hope for the best, I mean, it doesn't usually turn out that well.
I think it's ironic you wanted to be a physical therapist. I would say that you yourself have more therapists at your disposal than anyone that I know. So I just feel like it's ironic that you wanted to do that. But then, of course, in your career and profession, like, injuries are happening all the time. So there's a cost of what it stays like to stay in the shape that you do. Plus, being a professional wrestler as well. Like, you don't see a lot of people with your type of conditioning in wrestling at that level, because it's bad on your body.
Oh, it's 100% affected my body. I remember even like when I started doing some bodybuilding shows too, which was also for fun. People would tell me like, oh, do you think you would, like you would be in a better shape or more muscular or whatever if you weren't wrestling? And I go, oh, for sure, because 99.9% of my injuries are all from wrestling, not from training. And it's funny you bring up the therapist thing, because a lot of people different joke about that. My wife always says I'm a therapy whore, and even the AEW team, they joke and call the training room the Brian Cage spa. So I'm always in there. I'm into the most. I'm trying to do everything, but also funny, like whenever we're in any sort of area, or if they need to refer somebody who lives or wherever to a certain therapist, they ask me, hey, Brian, do you know what the best therapist is for this in San Diego? Hey, we're in St. Louis. Do you know the best chiropractor? And it's funny they ask me because, like, Brian just goes everywhere. And because of that, too, because I travel and I'm there all the time, like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I've never done anything. Like, my only freaking addiction is wrestling and training, right? And so, like, if I have free time, if I'm not in the gym training, then I'm usually looking for somewhere to get some sort of therapy to make use of my time in that regard, because also, it's my body, it's my work, and you said it's funny I wanted to do it, but I have I think more in-depth understanding of it and the body and how it works, and also a better appreciation for what you guys do and what you do for me, and that's the same thing. Whenever I'm getting worked on, wherever new modality or new treatment, I'm always very inquisitive of it. I want to know, hey, what's this? What's this working? Hey, what body part is that? Hey, is that my infra spinatus, my super spinatus? Hey, is it whatever it is? Just because I want to be known, I feel like it helps me with more vast knowledge. Even when I was like working on my wife the other night, she was like, oh my gosh. Like, and I was just doing different like massages. She's like, it's like you are masseuse.
That earned you some brownie
right?
points.
Oh, for sure. But I'm like, I feel like obviously I'm not trained at everything, but I feel like I've gotten so much therapy so many times from so many different people. I do feel like it kind of trickles down a little bit, the knowledge and being able to kind of do certain things.
Absolutely. For sure. So getting cut, getting up, WWE and the PWG grind. So you made it to WWE, but after a year and a half, you were released. For many, that would be game over. But for you, it was just the beginning. Walk us through that season mentally, how you processed the setback and how PWG became the spark to launch your second act.
So, there's so much that we can dive into here, but so my goal, I told everyone when I was in high school, I was like, I will be signed to WWE by the time I'm 24. That was my hard stop. Not my hard stop, but that was like I'm gonna do it. And I turned 24 and I was like, oh, this is the year. And there's some hardships in there too. I just split up with my son's mom. I have a son who's 19 now, so he was like a year and a half turning 2. And I was like, I still want to make this happen. And I did get an opportunity to go before that, when I was still with his son's mom, to go to Deep South Wrestling, which was a developmental program for WWE at the time, through my friend and one of my idols, Chris Kanyon, who was a pro wrestler for many, many, many years on TV. So he helped me get in there, so I kind of got a little bit of an in, which led to me that eventually Deep South got closed down. So I was there uncontracted, I was getting paid. I went out there and just to show some of like the hardships and like kind of the sacrifices, like, and anyone makes, if you want to do anything, like you're gonna have to make some hardships and some sacrifices.
Absolutely.
And so not only did I miss out on a lot of my son's life, I remember I even got a computer, and that's even when I made MySpace to keep up with freaking to date myself, because I didn't want one at all, but like to keep up with people back at home, because I was so culture shock. I moved to Atlanta, that's where it was, from California, and I just started working at LA Fitness. And I also found out the difference between federal minimum wage in California compared to state minimum wage in Georgia at that time, which was nothing. So I was making no money, and I was sending it back home to the baby mama, if you will. And then I was just living off credit cards. So I racked up tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt, going out there chasing this dream. And eventually Deep South got closed down. There's some internal stuff that happened. They closed it down. They moved it to Florida. And I told my wife, or not, she wasn't my wife, my son's mom, that, if anything happened, and it felt so close to getting signed, that I would come back. So I was over there for like 9 months, and I was thankful for the opportunity, and it was scary, and I didn't want to go, but as scary as it was to go in there unknown, and obviously look at all the missing on my young child, and all the debt I accrued, and I had a really good paying job, and so I had to give that up. But the fear of not knowing, like, or the what if. Like, if I just said, forget it, I'll stay here. And then 10 years down the road, when I'm managing big lots, going, oh, man, what if I would have went there? What if, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and a friend of mine too said, hey, at worst case, Brian, he goes, home's only a plane ride away, worst case. And I was like, that's true. So I went there, I did that, and though it didn't necessarily go my way, it still was a great experience, and it led to me getting an opportunity when WWE came to California, a few months back when I moved back to California, and I got booked on these 3 different, 2 SmackDowns in a Raw, and I actually, I showed up, I was in great shape, and they loved me right away for my look, and they're like, oh, let's see if you can wrestle, boy, and then we get in the ring, and I'm rolling around. They're like, oh, yeah, we're absolutely using you tonight as one of the opening dark matches. I go out there. I'm so excited. I'm working with a guy, too, that I know. So I'm not nervous at all. I remember feeling so ecstatic. And, like, Johnny Ace, who was a VP of talent relations at the time, came up and talked to me and goes, hey, make sure you come find me after your match. And the agent of the match was like, dude, you're going to get signed. So I'm dreaming. Like, this is it. We're going to make this happen. So we go out there. Everything's going great. Until it doesn't. I got knocked out cold, completely knocked out. First time, severe concussion. I only remember the day from just in the match from being able to have watched it. I remember watching it back. Like, I take this move, I land right on my head. I have the stiff arms up, and like the guy's like waiting for me to feed up to bump and feed for his comeback. And he's like, come on. And he comes over and he kicks the crap out of me, like to get me up. Like, come on, man, what are you doing, kid? And I'm just out. The referee's like, no, he's out. Just pin him. So he pins me. 1, 2. I kick out anyways, just on instinct, because I'm out. And the referee goes, 3. And he just calls the bell. And like the crowd are kind of like, hey, what just happened? And then he goes to like, it's called shit can, throwing me out of the ring. And the referee's like, no, come on, he's hurt. He gives me the sign. That's the sign to throw up like this one's really hurt. And he's really lets go of me. And I stand up, and I'm like drunk 30 styles boxing like this. And then I just stop, and I go, oh. And it's like I pass out, and I just fall down, and my head goes doom, 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 down the ropes.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, I'm out. Like, and I just remember pieces of it, too, after the fact. And I kept asking, what happened? Where am I? What time is it? And then my friend from this wrestling promotion called PCW, I'm like, PCW Joe, what are you doing here? And I just kept repeating that over and over again. And then they brought my car out, and the guy that knocked me out was going to drive me back to where I was staying. And he's like, is this your car? And I'm like, nope. And he goes, well, whose car is it? And I go, oh, it's Ashley's. And he goes, who's Ashley? And I go, I think she's my girlfriend. Like, I remember, because she was at the time, but like, it's a funny experience. So then I go the next day. They don't let me do anything because I'm concussed and whatever. And so this was 2 SmackDown tapings. And then the third booking, because I'm still booked, so I'm still getting paid to show up. It's at Raw. There's like it's a whole different team, whole different medical staff and everything. So I'm actually in the ring, which I shouldn't be. They don't know this. I'm doing this and that. And the night before, the agent that I talked that hyped me up that I was going to get signed, I go and I talk to him, and I'm like, hey, so what's the deal? What happened? Did I screw the pooch? And he goes, well, you took a hell of a bump, kid, and I get it. You want to go out there and look good, but shit happens, and I'll try to talk to Ace for you. But if not, we got your information. We're gonna do this tour in Australia for 2 weeks, and then we can always, call you down the road or whatever. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's not gonna work for me. So I'm looking around for Johnny Ace, and I see him, and he's talking to everybody, and I go over there. I'm waiting for an opportunity. It's not gonna happen, so I make it happen. I go, hey, sorry, sir. I don't mean to interrupt you, and I stick my hand out to shake his hand. I don't mean to interrupt you, and I just want to say, and he goes, yeah, kid. That's how he sounds. Yeah, kid. Well, that's what you're doing. And he just gives me the shoulder and walks off. I'm like, damn, this guy was so about me the day before.
I'm funny how that works, right?
Right? And so like, severe high to severe depressed, and I'm like, all right, whatever. The next day, I'm like, I'll just go show up. I'll get some awesome catering. I'll show up, do what I can, make the best of it. Hopefully, I'll get booked again. So as we're changing and Raw's about to come on, right as I lean against the wall to watch the program in the viewing area backstage, Johnny Ace taps me on the shoulder and goes, hey, kid, you got a minute? And I'm like, oh, yeah. So he brings me to his office, and he goes, hey, I'm sorry for being kind of a dick to you yesterday, but, we do say sorry I don't mean to interrupt. You are interrupting. And he goes, okay, how are you going to make me money? And I was so confident, so positive, and I wasn't nervous at all. I felt so good the 2 nights before, and I'm like, yeah. And now he's caught me off guard, and I thought it's all over now. So I'm just like flubbing, like, Because I do stuff. I didn't know what to say. And he goes, listen, kid, you need to be a lot more confident because I saw you. I thought you looked good. I thought you looked great. And he's like, you just need to have more confidence and yada, yada, yada. And he starts putting me over. So I'm thinking like, okay, we're in a good spot. Like, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I'll get booked again. And then he goes, are you willing to go to Florida? And I'm like, wait, what? Because that's their developmental league, said it got moved to Florida. And I go, yeah, absolutely. And he goes, okay, well, we'll go find Mark Carano and, we'll get you signed up. And I'm like, holy crap, did I just get signed? And he goes, I'm actually glad that you came up to me. And he goes, I thought I wanted to sign you. That's why, I talked to you before. But I wanted to see how you were, in the match. And then afterwards, your persistency to come up to me on your own, like really showed me you want it. So I was so shocked and dumbfounded. I can't believe I just got signed. And then I walked out the room, and the first thing I thought was, who the hell is Mark Carano? I didn't know who that was. But anyways, yeah, so I ended up getting signed. I'm 24. I reached the dream. I strived, and I said like how the layout of, going to the school, getting trained, busting the grind. I got that opening Deep South, through Canyon, which really helped me advance and you kind of get the... I guess the radar, so to speak. Especially two things to my friend Luke Hawks, who was friends with a guy that would get Extra Talent booked. And that kind of helped me get booked too, which led to me getting signed. So thanks and shout out to Luke as well. But everything happened for a reason. I would have changed how it all got there. And it felt great getting there. I loved my time there. Everything was awesome. And then, unfortunately, I got released. That's the sad part too about WWE. Almost everyone eventually gets fired from there at some point. Yeah. I know there's a lot of backstory here, and not to like make this one too long. I was really well liked there. I really performed well there. We got a note, or the head trainer, Dr. Tom Pritchard, who is phenomenal, best trainer ever in wrestling, said, "Hey, we got word that one of you all is going up on the road next week and this, that, whatever," and everyone thought it was me just because of how well I've been performing, how good I was. Everything. Oh, it's definitely my name. There was Chris Logan. I couldn't keep Brian Cage. At that time, they'd always make you change your name so they could license it themselves. So Chris was for Chris Canyon, my idol, and then Logan was for Wolverine, which is funny because my first name I gave them was Logan Cage, and they said no, I couldn't do that because it's still Cage, and I owned the intellectual property, but on her own accord, to jump ahead without even knowing, Melissa, my wife, when she decided she came up to the room and she goes like, "Hey, what about the name Logan for our newest son?" And I'm like, "Are you joking?" He goes like, "No, isn't that Wolverine's name too?" And I go, "Yeah." And she's like, and then he could have Cage as his middle name, so it would go with my older son's middle name is also Cage. And then I just thought it was so cool because Logan Cage, again, was the name I wanted to be, and she had no idea about that, so I thought that was pretty neat. Everyone thought it was me. I missed a phone call that weekend, or that Friday while I was at the gym. I saw it was The Office from WWE. I was like, oh man, I freaked out. I couldn't wait. I was so stoked. I actually was due for a raise too. So I'm like, am I getting a raise? Am I even getting called up? Maybe I'm getting both. So I call up like, yo, what's up, man? They're like, how you doing, Brian? I go, pretty good. You're that calm, cool, collected. And they're like, yeah, this is the hard part about the job sometime, but we're going to have to come to terms with your release and let you go. And I was like, did you call the right person? Like, I was so dumbfounded. And I was so shocked. I was like, hold on. I'm thinking I'm getting a raise. I'm thinking I'm going on TV. I'm thinking I'm doing both. I'm getting released? What? And then all the coaches fought for me. And because they'd always do this review every so often. And there was this one show we did. It was a big show. There's a huge crowd. It was this Father's Day show deal. A lot of these legends who were dads to the kids were at the show. And I guess for whatever reason they watched that show. They didn't watch all my other phenomenal performances. And on that show, I actually had a groin injury. And I wasn't even supposed to be on the show. Long story short, if I got on it, it was going to be this easy match with this guy I'd already worked with. They're like, okay, just get on him right away. I was like, okay, throw me up the top rope. Well, hold on, I'll go in. And I'll springboard in. You can give me that big boot cutoff. I was like, but I can't springboard because of the groin injury. I go, so I'll just feed in like I'm going to springboard. I was like, and just cut me off the big boot as I'm coming up before I do the springboard. And then whatever. The rest of the match was easy. Went off without a hitch. Perfect, short, easy, awesome finish. So when I feed in for that cutoff is what it was called to go to heat. He throws the boot. He threw it all right, but he threw it fucking across the ring. Like as if I was still springboarding in, right? I was told not to do that. So I jump up, like just kind of feeding my face to get kicked in the face. And, he's 12 feet away from me. And I'm like, oh boy. So I just kind of, because I can't springboard. So then I just like kind of just flop over into the ring like an idiot and just eat crap like I don't know what I'm doing. And he gets on me, and the crowd actually wasn't too harsh on me. They didn't really even like boo or react to it. There's usually like a "you effed up" chant or something. Like I said, the rest of the match went out without a hitch. Everything was great. But for that one spot, they happened to watch that show and determined me gone. And all the coaches fought for me, and even Johnny Ace's big line was like, well, if he's that good, I guess I'll just sign him back later, won't I? And so that was my my toss up with WWE, and I left. I ended up going back to California, started working in Southern California, which I didn't work a lot in, and I was starting all over. Like, says now there's like NXT, you're on, which is awesome, the brand, the developmental league, and you get paid a lot more. You're on TV, and FCW, which is what it was before NXT and developmental. We had local TV, but like no one really saw you or knew you wrestling. So it was almost like, especially in the California scene where I came from, it was almost like I just stopped wrestling completely.
Yeah.
So when I came back, it was almost like I had to start all over. So I went from being a salaried, WWE talent, essentially, to like begging to get on shows. And then people were offering me like $20 all over again. And it was humiliating. And like, yeah, and I could have big lead him like, I'm not doing that. But I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll take that $20 booking. I'll go out there. I'll freaking kill it. And I'm going to get 40 the next time. And then 60. And then 80. And that's exactly what I did.
This is identically what happens, kind of in the NFL. And a lot of these guys never, expect it because like, oh shit, I lost my job. Like you get cut from a team.
Yep.
You could do so well. They pick you up cheap. You do so well. They don't want to pay you. So what do? They cut you, right? Because this guy's real good, but he's gonna get real expensive later. So let's just cut him and grab someone like medium. And then what happens is that totally discourages the athlete. Like they've never been fired from a job before. Like, man, what am I gonna do? Do I lose my identity? Like, who am I? And you got to go through all these trainings and workouts again to get back onto a team. Well, they probably just offer you the league minimum. So it's like you got to start there, right? Because if you don't accept that, somebody's going to get picked up for 2 years. And the longer that goes on, never going to step on the field again for politics. So it's almost identical to, and I can see how disheartening that used to make athletes that I used to work with, man, especially if they got let go because they got injured. It's almost like their whole world just collapses right down in front of them.
Yeah, it was definitely a struggle. I mean, when I got released too, I broke down and like, I couldn't believe it. Like, here I'm living my dream job, thinking I'm exceeding at it, and I'm let go. Like, where do I go from this? Where do I do it? And even then, my mom was like, "Are you gonna quit now?" And I go, "No, I'm not gonna quit. Like, forget this." She even said that too when I got my extra spot. She's like, "Oh, if you don't get signed, are you gonna quit?" And I go, "What? No, this is my big opportunity, but it's not my only opportunity. It's not the be all end all." So I was like, "No, let me keep striving. Let me keep striving." And then there's this big company down in SoCal called PWG. It's really really popular. It's just a local place, but it reached everywhere because it was like the pinnacle of like wrestling talent. Everyone wanted to get on that show. So eventually I get booked on that show, and then that's really where a lot of things change. Then I'm working there consistently every month, having awesome shows, started getting booked all over the place in the States, started getting booked more internationally. And that was I remember like the first time I was going through like, Toronto and other places in Canada, which I'd never been, and I'd show up there and people like, not just knew my name, but knew my monikers, knew my chants, because there was this fun things that people would chant and stuff, and my nicknames, and I'm like, this is wild. And it's because of PWG, because it had such a far reach where everyone would buy the DVDs, and it wasn't streaming yet. There was no streaming. It was that over. Like everyone at PWG is like a top tier person in every promotion now. Like everyone who came from there and who got booked there. That was like the Disneyland of pro wrestling. That place was just impeccable, and that crowd was unbelievable. So that really set me apart. And then, so I kept persevering, and I actually had gotten called back a few times where WWE had reached out to me because a lot of people kept putting me over to them. And at this time, like, there's kind of a change of people, in charge of things. And this one guy, Cameron Seaman, he kept on hitting me up, and he's like, "Oh, I keep getting, buzzed about you." But like, he even said it. He goes, "But there's kind of a black spot on your name." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, almost like, and a lot of people used to say like, "Oh, maybe someone doesn't want you to be there." He goes, "Oh, well, I might be able to get you into a tryout," which I also thought was a little disrespectful. But I was like, whatever, if that's the case. And he goes, "Yeah, I'll try to get you the next one. And if not, like maybe the one after that. And this kind of went on for a while. Then came this new promotion called Lucha Underground. I got offered a deal there and a matching deal from AAA, which is the head organization in Mexico, which, funny enough, also just got purchased by WWE, so it's actually part of WWE. I was pretty keen on that, and I was going to sign there, and out of nowhere, I get called from WWE again this time. And now there's no, oh, maybe we can get you on. Like, oh, you're accepted. Like, we'll have you do the tryout. And I'm like, okay, let's do this then. And they get all my information, this and that. He goes, okay, well, so-and-so will call you tomorrow to set up all your travel, to set you up with everything. And I'm like, sounds good. And then I started thinking about it. And during this time, there was a moment where they called me back and tried to get me on this reality show called Tough Enough. And I didn't think I could even be on the show because I was already signed. But then they wanted me on the show. Then I got pulled off. I wasn't really sure why. And then Johnny Ace had invited me to come down to a show at the Save Mart Center when I lived in Fresno and to meet with him backstage. So I go there. I'm like, okay, this probably got to be a good thing. So I go there, I meet with him backstage, and I'm thinking too, like, right, he doesn't got to waste his time and his effort. And we talk to him, and he goes, I know we tried to, people spoke highly about you when we released you, and I knew there's some back and forth and some gray area stuff. And he goes, and I wanted, to reach back out to you. He goes, I know WrestleMania is around the corner, because it was. He goes, we're doing some stuff, but he's like, yeah, I'd like to have you come back. So just keep in touch with me. We'll figure something out. I'm like, okay. So I'm all ecstatic, and like people that knew me there were all stoked. And the same thing. I'm like, why would he call me in to waste my time? So I'm like, oh, cool. I go, well, I guess I'm not signed right now, but if it's gonna happen, I'm like, okay, great. So I stayed in touch with him for a couple of weeks. Mania came and went, and then all of a sudden it kind of like just kind of went dark for a little bit. I'm like, what's going on? So I text him a few times. He finally gets back to me, and he just texts me back. He goes, sorry, no longer interested. And I'm like, what? What just happened? Like, what changed? And he replied again in text, and he goes, well, let's face it, you're average at best, and as I already said, we're no longer interested. I was furious, and I was so desperate to get back to WWE. And then when I got that message, it really just changed everything, where I was like, you know what? I don't need to go back there. It's okay if I don't go back there. Like, I felt like my life was over if I didn't get back there. I was like, I already was there.
Honestly, it had to, but it's just like at the end of the day, like they know the entertainment level you, Bruce, and you have to get paid.
Oh, for
a
sure.
certain amount of money. So that's exactly what it is.
So, and I was like, I told everybody I'd get signed by the time I was 24. I did that. Like, obviously, I didn't main event WrestleMania. That's everyone's dream. I go, you know what? Forget this, though. So I was like, I'm going to make it on my own, and that's what I was doing. Now, fast forward, now I finally have this tryout opportunity, and I thought about everything. I thought with the contract I already had from AAA and Lucha Underground. I was like, you know what? And that weekend was a tryout. I was going on this cruise already and stuff. And I was like, I don't think I want to do it now. I go, you know what? They've dicked me around all this time. They've tried to sign me, like re-sign me, then rescinded my contract, put me on Tough Enough. No, they brought me in, said they're going to sign me. Like, it just was so much back and forth. I was like, you know what? I called them back. I go, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And they're
what's
like,
interesting about that is like that's like the one instance where you take your power back from
yeah,
someone.
for sure.
Like you gave it to them, and they're like, no, not anymore. Like I'm gonna make again. It goes back to what type of belief system do you have for what you can do for yourself.
Oh, for sure. And it did feel good. Like, because like you almost never on the offense with them, especially when they're like at that time, they're like really the only game in town. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. And they're like, wait, what? Like, they were so, like, I go, what do you mean? And he goes, I just have some other opportunities I think I'm going to look into. And I'm just no longer interested. I kind of used that line back. And they're like, well, do you want a different date? Do you want some extra spot? Like, it was funny how, like, almost, I don't want to say desperate, but almost like the desperation in the voice sounded. We're like, wait. You don't say no to us. We say no to you.
Yep.
What are you doing? And, I went on to sign. And maybe I would have got signed if I did that tryout. Maybe not. Who knows? I could have did the tryout and not gone anywhere. And then maybe not have signed with AAA and Lucha Underground. Would have lost out on that. And I went and did that. And Lucha Underground, I'll tell you what. It only lasted 4 seasons. And it was more of a TV show about wrestling than a wrestling show on TV. And it was so phenomenal. It's still probably my favorite time in wrestling. From wanting to be a wrestler from 10 years old, that is how it finally felt. How I thought it would feel at 10 years old to be a wrestler was in Lucha Underground. Yeah. It was so much fun. It was such a great show. And it's such diehard fans. There's so big cult following for it. When I do certain meet and greets and different conventions and stuff like that, it's always brought up. And actually where I met my lovely wife, Melissa Santos. She was the ring announcer there. And it's funny, I never got together or dated or was ever with a wrestler because I never wanted to kind of cross the two. I never wanted, shit where you eat kind of situation. Now, Melissa had a little bit of leeway because, now she's smoking hot and everyone had a crush on her. And she was a ring announcer and a wrestler, but she actually came from like the acting world, not from wrestling world. So she wasn't like already around it. And this was all new to her. So there was definitely leeway to that. And as we like, there's a couple seasons that passed first before anything really happened with us. But I could already tell like we developed a little bit of a friendship, and she was definitely crushed on me a little bit. And everybody would even joke because, like I said, everyone had a crush on her. But everybody's like, "Oh, I think Cage is the one that has a shot at her." I don't know. I think, and luckily it ended up working out. So here we are later, my wife and mother of my two younger children. But yes, Lucha Underground was great, and also a reason why I signed there is because AAA, which was already well known and well established in Mexico, like matched, and I was the only one at Lucha Underground that had a dual contract with both places. But yeah, it just. Both of those were great. They were so much fun. And then they kept launching my career too, where now I'm working more and more independent dates. I'm getting paid a lot more. So like, even though I'm not headlining WWE events, at that point in my career, I feel like, I've made it. Like I'm making really good money. I was able to buy my dream car. I've always wanted a Corvette. I was like, I bought my dream car, living my dream. I thought that was such a cool line. Like I felt great. Like I was very content with my life.
And I'm sure you know us, but like, it may have not been that fun in the WWE. Like, obviously when people see entertainment on TV, they don't know what people have to go through.
Sure. So
the fact that you're able to follow your purpose, but it's something that you want to do, and like your fan base is amazing. Like that's what everyone wants, is they want support. So sometimes things are just not. Someone told me something real important. They're like, half the time you end up pushing things out of your life rather than something leaving you. I have to think about that for a second. But it was like the calling me. No, man, I'm not interested anymore. Because I got my own thing. And my own thing that I made was pretty fucking good.
Yeah. It did feel kind of nice to kind of like feel more like self-made. You know what I mean? In that regard. And there were struggles before that, before Lucha Underground came and stuff, and during the PWG time, where I still was low financially, and I had the hustle mindset. Where it was like, look, I got shit to do and shit to pay, and I have a child, I have this and that. So like I was out there, I was personal training, I was working on a supplement shop, I was doing anything and everything I could to make ends meet and make things happen, which I did. And it's funny to me when I know certain people, coming up chasing whatever dream, and like they act like they don't have time for this, or it's so hard for this. I go, listen, man, I had every struggle and adversity there was too, and I'm not saying it was easy, and it definitely was not fun. I go, but again, it's like the whole, if there's a will, there's a way. I go, you can make it happen. And I don't think you can install that kind of work ethic and discipline into someone. It's almost like you have it or you don't.
That's the difference between skill set and will set.
Yeah,
and
yes.
If you possess both, you will be unstoppable. It may not happen like it may take a lot longer than anyone thinks it's going to happen, but that will set never leaves the person.
Sure.
Like they know that if you end up with nothing, that you'll get it again.
Oh, for sure. I've never heard of that. I'm going to steal that. I like that. The skill set.
I'm just dropping lines from what people tell me. Yeah. I'm not the
skill
originator.
Set and will set. That's it's so good too, because I remember when I was so dedicated after high school, when I was hitting the gym and I was trying to do this and wrestling, all that stuff. I was like, look, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the best, I'm not like. There's nothing like going from that regard. There's so many people, different things. I go, but you know what? I feel like my will and work ethic is going to outshine all of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, they might be this, they might be that, they might be that. But I go, but guess what? Eventually, this freaking turtle is going to pass that hair, and I'm gonna be where I want to be.
Yeah.
So
we talk about family, marriage, and fatherhood on the road. So you lived lots of experiences in life: 2 marriages, raising 3 kids, traveling globally, the spotlight. How do you stay anchored and present as a husband and father while being pulled in so many directions? And what advice would you give to other high-performing people?
You know what? We're always trying to get better. We're always trying to better ourselves. And as talented or as skilled as I am in the ring, or knowledgeable as I am with the nutrition and training and all this stuff, that is definitely one thing I'm still definitely working on to improve all the time. Is definitely the home life. Especially too, like when I was, my first marriage. I was married twice. My first marriage came to an end. And even with that, like I felt like, even at those good times, I still felt like wrestling was my be all end all. I felt like that was my main passion, my main love. So I felt like a lot of stuff took a backseat to it because this was more important to me. And that's not the way to go about it. And I definitely kind of learned through that relationship going south. And I was actually the one that filed for the divorce for that one. But again, things happen for a reason, and I've definitely have bettered myself in so many regards. Now, am I perfect? Absolutely not. You know, and I'm a big fan of the Last of Us video games, and it's the TV show as well, because I feel like it's the best adaptation of video games there's ever been to live action. And there's a reason why I'm segueing to this. So recently in the new season, he said a line and it reached out to me so much. So they have this flashback with the main character, Joel, with his dad, and it shows kind of an issue. And he gives him a line, which then he reiterates the line later in the show. He says, he's like, you know, I'm just doing the best I can, and hopefully, you know, you can do a little better than me. And that resonated with me so well, because I put my dad on such a high pedestal. I remember throughout all my childhood and my teenage years, and my mom never like bashed him, but I know she couldn't stand it because, and I look back now, and my dad definitely wasn't the best dad, and I still like looked up to him, you know, and praised him so much, and I don't have any issues, and I don't like hate on this or hate on that, but like I realized a lot of, you know, stuff I didn't learn that my dad wasn't there for, and whatever else, and that installed my mindset. I was like, you know what? As long as I'm doing more and being a little bit better, just as they said, than my dad, like I felt accomplished. And I'm not saying I was doing a little bit more. Like I've done like so much. And I made sure that, especially when I was gone a lot, that I was always there for my my oldest son when he was growing up, and that was a struggle too. There's a lot of struggles dealing with his mom, and you know, all my traveling, and then especially as I started another family, and then I've got to go, you know, see my son. So I'm always gone away from home, and I got to be away from home to go see him, make sure I'm there for this event, and then come back for this with the wife and be here for the birthday. And like it's definitely a struggle, but I've definitely made it happen, and it is so wonderful, right? It was just Father's Day, and I was really thinking back about that, and I was like, man, I thought wrestling, as I just said, was like the most important, most valuable thing to me. And like looking back now, and obviously you get older and you get wiser, and you see all these different things. I go, man, I never would have thought, and I wanted kids, but I never would have thought that having kids and having a family would be so significant and so meaningful to me, and the way that I was chased and, you know, felt from wrestling. And so to be able to have that in the home life and be able to have that, you know, professionally is tremendous. And yes, it is a struggle, it is a battle. And I've been injured and I've been home, so I've been able to spend a lot more time, which has been a nice little safe haven.
Yeah,
and I haven't even it's the only time I've ever been hurt where I haven't been like depressed or down at all either, where I felt good. And obviously when I get back on the road full time, I'm going to be gone more, and so I'm going to, you know, we'll have to go back to trying to manage that. But it's definitely opened my eyes where I'm really appreciative of a lot of things that I've been blessed with, and that I realize that I've missed out on, and more so that my dad has missed out on with me, for me not to make that same mistake. And then the same thing. Then I hope that I install that so that my children are better than I was at raising their kids down the road.
I think that brings up a good, obviously, childhood trauma, I probably believe is 97% responsible for all of our actions.
Sure.
You know? And obviously I grew up without a dad. I've never even met him before. And then I grew up with a single mom, and she tried her best to take care of me with what she had. And so, you know, it's easy to get mad about, man, I wish my life were a little bit different. But what I started to realize is I have no idea what both of my parents were going through. And I look at my life now as I have so many resources, people to talk to, therapists, like you name it, access to any type of person. None of them had that. So all they did was probably do the best that they think that they could do, you know, with limited resources.
Sure.
You know, especially growing up in Hawaii. Come on, man, you got 2 to 3 families living in one small home. You're not supposed to make it. You're not supposed to leave that island, you know? In fact, if my mom didn't bring me to Las Vegas, none of this would be possible, because I certainly would have done that on an island.
Sure,
you know?
of course, yeah. And, you know, and there's that too. There's also, you know, having kids now as well. There's no instruction manual, right? You don't know what you're learning every day that it happens.
Yeah,
the same thing.
I was going to a therapist, you know, while going through a divorce, and they specifically asked, "What frame of reference do you have for marriage?" And I was like, "I don't have one. I don't know what an optimal family is supposed to look like." She's like, "So how do you contribute to something like that?" And I said, "Okay, that started making a lot of sense. I put a lot of blame into myself, but in reality, how do I know what that looks like? You know, and you know, you're talking about going through tough times. So going through an almost 2-year divorce, even though in the very beginning I thought it was the most horrible thing, it actually shaped me into what I call is my calling, like the person I was supposed to be after. It just sucks when you can't see it that way in the beginning. But obviously you go through these turmoils in life for a reason. It's made to get you into your purpose and to figure out the person that you are. I wasn't confident before. I looked confident, but I was operating out of fear. So I would produce fear to make me go and work hard, but I wasn't confident in actually what I could do. Now I'm confident in what I can do, and I can tell you that pushes a lot of people away that aren't supposed to be around in your life. Because once they can no longer control you, and you go ahead and you pull that power back, man, they don't like that.
Well, just like when I told them, like, I'm no longer interested.
Yeah.
It's funny you say it too, because I've had a few different wrestlers come through here recently with me, and when I was training, and I like to always tell them, I go, yeah, so I put over you and how great of a therapist you were and how long I've known you, and I go, yeah, I used to come here when like Sean just had that one, and obviously you were successful, you were doing other things, but I was like, yeah, in this building, I go, Sean just had this one room right here. I was like, you need to work out of that room. I go, and now he has all this. Like, this was a big like soccer and basketball like field area and stuff, and I go, and then it became all of this. It was
comfortable. See, I was comfortable in that room. I was the man, and I still think, and it's funny because I feel like I get better at therapy, even though I'm not currently doing therapy as much now, because it's just like it's in the brain. It has nothing to do with the hands. It was in the brain. So obviously, then we had this. I'm like, I thought that Project Obing was everything, but that's just 4 walls. That's not the belief and the concept behind it. So when someone really started getting me to feel that way, like, oh, I'm made for much more even outside of here, that's when I was like, okay, I can see the vision of what I want to create now. It's way beyond what the 4 walls look like.
Oh, for sure. I lost track there talking about the dad trauma issues, but yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, and again, I'm not saying that I don't have them, but I never chose to be like a victim of that. And even like you said too, you grew up with 2 families. Like, we were poor, will and welfare section, housing in a mobile home community, and stuff. Like, definitely was not well off. But again, I wasn't gonna I never even thought about that. I felt like a fun childhood, and I look back and as I just said too, and even just talked to my mom yesterday, like, she did the best she could too, and all the while as a kid, I'm thinking like she knows what she's doing, and now having kids of my own, like I said, you don't know. You kind of just figure it out as you're going too.
Yeah.
Like I said, there is no like, it's like you like, oh, I didn't know how to be a parent. You learn how to be a parent while you're being a parent.
Absolutely.
So, but again, I through any hardship, growing up too, like I could have been like a victim mentality with that. Like, oh, I guess this. That. I go, no, heck no. I'm gonna freaking make stuff happen. So
that's why I posted last night that it's a privilege to be able to make a choice. Like, even if you're at your lowest, you can still make a choice of where you want to go. Like, some people can't make a choice. And that's terrible. I never want to be on that end. So even if something's not good, like being able to make a choice of even if you have to sit in it for a year or whatever the case may be, but getting a chance to reframe your mind frame and getting a choice about, okay, what am I supposed to be learning during this time? That brings me up to my next question: injury, recover, and relentless discipline. So obviously wrestling's brutal on the body. Recovery is a constant war. What keeps you so disciplined to stay locked in, keep your body at the highest level? And specifically now, like with 2 surgeries, I've been around athletes my entire career. I would say 3% of people actually, go back to what they were doing. But like for you, it's like there's not even 1% doubt that that's even gonna happen. Like, you were in the gym the next day.
So it's funny you said that, because I've had multiple people go like, hey, like, so are you when you're healed, are you gonna go back to wrestling? And I thought that was the stupidest question in the world. Like, what do you mean? Duh! Like, that was never even a question of doubt. Like, yeah, and I've been hurt numerous times, and that's why have so many therapists, and I get so much therapy, and like, yeah, I usually am down, and I've been wanting to get this right knee worked on for a long time. It's been bugging me forever, and obviously as an athlete, you never want to be out. You want to be out of the game. You're out of sight. You're out of mind. So I kept putting off. I'm thinking like, oh, maybe this time. Well, I tore my quad in my left knee, which was devastating at the time. Like I said, though, it has helped the home life a lot. And then while I was already out and already injured, now I was back in the gym right away. Which even then, my doctor, I go, so can I go to the gym? And she's like. And she goes, well, what are you going to train? And I go, well, not legs. And she goes, like, just kind of like that size. And I'm like, so that's a yes? And she was like, okay. And it wasn't like it was a yes. It was more like, all right, I guess you're going to go do it anyway.
Yeah, he's going to do it whatever he wants anyway.
And so, and And just because I'm in the gym too, and some people like, I don't think we're realizing it's crazy how online, especially Twitter, how negative that place is. Because like so many people were suddenly taking it as such a negative thing, and I go just because I'm at the gym too, it's like doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, and that it was easy to get there.
Exactly.
No,
that's
it sucks.
the choice.
Yeah,
That's
I go, but I want to be here, and then through the mental. Like positive, like because again, it's easy to be down, sitting on the couch doing nothing, and dwelling and falling down into like a despair and getting like, oh man, you know what I mean? I go going to the gym, I feel like has helped me heal and recover because mentally I felt more positive, more optimistic, more like it felt great. So same thing, and I was like, you know what? And I kept on thinking about it. I go, I want to recover from this injury faster than anybody. I go, but if I come back and this right knee's still bugging, I'm like that sucks, and then I don't want to take off all this time again to get that right knee fixed. I was like, so I elected to go like, you know what, frick it, I'm already out. Let's just do this right. It's gonna suck. It's not both knees are being operated on. I go, but let's do it. And then right away too, I'm like, all right. And it was funny because right when I was getting back to be able to kind of start to do some cardio and a lot of progression, get back to normal, so to speak. I'm like, oh, right back under the knife, right back to starting from ground one or ground zero, and day one. And I was like, well, whatever. I was like, I want to do it because I know that. At the end of it all, it'll be worth it. It'll be better off. And then again, I know I have the mindset to be able to be like, okay, well, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll get it going, and and that's that. Like, and again, like this sucks. This is like even just while we're doing this interview, I keep my knee because my knee's killing me, and I just say that's like it's not fun. And I just started driving yesterday finally too because it's my right knee, so. I don't think people realize.
No, I think it's badass. You got out of the Uber, and you had your walker, but it's like even that doesn't. Like now, 99.9% of people will stay at home because of that.
Oh yeah. When I had the walker afterwards, yeah.
But I promise you that physical challenges are far inferior than mental challenges.
Oh, absolutely.
Once you give into anything mentally, and that's going to lead into my last question and the most powerful one is substance abuse in the wrestling culture. And, let's not sugarcoat. The wrestling has struggled with drug abuse and addiction for a long time. You've navigated that world for 20 years. Have you personally stayed clean and focused while others have fallen into the trap?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you this. I even said it before. I had never drank, never smoked. And so a lot of that, too, if you want to go back to the childhood trauma, my dad was a heavy drinker. And then also, too, and I knew, but I also kind of tried to pretend like I didn't know. And obviously more was unveiled to me as I got older. But also he was heavily into drugs and this and that. And my dad was a very successful person. He was general foreman of one of the main construction companies in California. He built so many different roads and freeways and pipes. And he did really well for himself. And then he lost it all, including his health and everything. And it's because of drugs and alcohol. So I felt like, through growing up, I felt like subconsciously it definitely deterred me from that. And I just never wanted to do it. I would joke, like when I got older and people would always try to get me to drink or do something. I'm like, nah. And I would always joke like, oh, Dare worked from me, from drug abuse resistant education in elementary school. And it's also funny because I say this is a little off topic somewhat, but it's funny when I tell people that I don't drink and I don't do this and whatever. And there's always the question of why. And it's always a why. And it's like a look, like I said, that look like, are you fucking lame? Are you a loser? Like, what do you mean you don't drink? What do you like? And it's weird because I was sitting on a plane, we're delayed, and we're sitting there forever waiting to take off. And the guy makes a joke to the stewardess. He goes, "Oh, well, at least can we get some drinks while we're waiting here? That'd be nice." And the girl's like, "Oh no, right?" And then I kind of laugh, ha ha ha. And he goes, "No, I'm just kidding though. I'm 7 years sober." And she goes, "Oh my God, congratulations!" And they start talking. And she's like praising him and like, "Oh my God!" Like, and it made me just think because I'm over here in the conversation. I go, "You know, it's funny." The fact that I've always been sober, I'm looked at as lame. You know what I mean? Like, you're not fun. What? I go, but if I wasn't, and then something happened, which I don't know what happened to that guy, but if some sort of trauma or tragic accident happened in which it turned me to turn to being sober and sobriety, which is so great when people do that. I'm not trying to downplay that, but it's just funny how that's rewarded and looked at as like, oh my God, you're so incredible, when like, if you just have never done it, you're like, oh, well, you suck. Like, it's a weird, like when you really think about it, it's kind of weird how like that's it's almost shunned upon if you're just a straight A student in that regard, where if you're just like clean as a whistle, not. But again, going back to my dad, I really feel like that played a role, and I just never wanted to. And just like when people would say I'd never be a wrestler, whenever I tell people like, no, I don't drink, I don't want to drink, I don't want to smoke, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And we go, oh, well, you will. And then at the same time, that would like fuel my resistance. Like, no, I'm not. I don't need to do that. I don't joke. Like, I don't need to be under influence of anything to have a good time or to be out here. And yeah, of course, in wrestling, everyone, even at the independents, which blew my mind when I just started, everyone was partying like they're rock stars. I go, dude, you guys aren't even close to me. Like I said, we're out here struggling to hopefully get paid $20, and you guys are all getting together and freaking taking this, taking that, doing this, like I'm like, I would show up from my job. I'd get there. I'd always get in like kind of late because I'd have to get up early for my work. I'd stop to get gas halfway through the drive because I'd always be driving 3-4 hours to get to wherever shows from Northern California. I'd stop, and when I get gas at a gas station, I'd go change in the restroom. So then I'd just show up and get ready because I know I'd be kind of getting there kind of late. I'd show up. I'd have my freaking, they'd always say 10-pound bag of dog food. Back in the day when protein powder was way cheaper.
Yeah.
And you had the 10.71 pound of optimum nutrition. So I'd show up with a big bag of protein powder. I'd have my just Tupperware. And my meal prep back then, I would just cook a big thing of pasta and chicken, and I would just throw it in a huge Tupperware and eat it throughout the day.
I think the reason why I don't like any type of protein shake is I'm still scarred because I remember in high school, first protein powder ever for me was Zions.
Oh,
and
yes,
it
yes.
tasted so disgusting. I remember being at home, I blended up, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to drink this. So I'm forcing myself to drink this. I just couldn't do it, man.
Some of those old school, really cheap GNC brand protein powders were terrible. And you're just like, I got to get it down. But like, yeah, I was always so willpower. The longer that went and the longer that happened, I was like, I'm not going to drink now. And then especially too, even reading a lot of biographies, a big thing is a lot of uppers and downers and painkillers, especially because we don't have off seasons. We're on the road all the time. We're wrestling, sometimes 4 times a night, and a lot of people get addicted to all these things. So I never, even these surgeries, I would take these pain pills for a couple days, few days, I'd kick them because I don't want to be on them.
Absolutely.
And it's just harsh on your body, but also like a lot of people will take a lot of different uppers to be up, and then now they're up all night. Now they can't sleep, so they take downers to go to sleep, and then like it's just and now they're drinking with all of them, and it's just a recipe for disaster.
And we go back to the choice thing, and man, it just takes one day of a bad choice. Like addiction is real for any human being, so you don't even. One time you try something, that could be the last time you have control.
Right, and people say that how addiction can be hereditary, and obviously my dad was addicted to a lot of different things, and so like, I mean, also too, like I don't know what I'm missing out on because I've never done it, so I don't feel like I need it, so I don't want to do it. So
yeah, it's funny. I don't really drink either. I probably had maybe 30 drinks my whole life, and before, but everyone always said, "Oh, you want to drink? You want to drink? Oh, why don't you drink?" And I never used to answer that. But I can go out to the nightclub. Yeah. Be around everyone that's drinking. I'm fine with what I'm doing.
Yeah,
drinking a Red Bull, whatever the fact is. And then when it's time for me to leave, I'll decide it on my own. All right, had enough. See you later. Like, sure. I'm totally fine with that. I think that people would get so uncomfortable with themselves that they try to bridge that gap with some type of substance to make them feel better or try to fit in or to blend in.
And I think too, it's just like I think too, because the fact that you're not doing it, I don't know, maybe people feel bad about themselves for doing it. It's just like, if you're going to the gym all the time, if you have a roommate, you go to the gym all the time, and your roommate doesn't, they're like, oh my God, why do you go to the gym all the time? Because in their head, they're like, damn it, I should be going to the gym too, but I'm not. And that's supposed to make you feel bad. Or just same thing, if you want to go chase your dream, a lot of people don't want to see you succeed because they were too scared to chase theirs. And so matter of fact, the job I had, the really good job I had before I left Atlanta, my boss, my manager at the time, he called me to his office when I put my 2-week notice in because I was going to leave to go to Atlanta to go chase this dream. And he knew what I wanted to be a wrestler. And he tells me, why do you want to go do this? He's like, what? Like, it's not going to happen for you. Like, he's like, he goes, you have better luck winning the lottery. I go, hell, my son has a better chance of being in the NFL than you do making it WWE. And as a kind of a dick as that sounds, he wasn't being malicious. He actually was a really nice guy, but he just was trying to be like really blunt because he's like, look, you have a good job here, you have a family here. Don't leave. You're going to mess it up. So. And obviously, too, this job is like the only job he's had his whole life. Like he started there from the ground up, and he became a successful person. But is that his dream job? Probably not, right? But that's just where he got set in. Absolutely. And I feel like when people are too scared to chase their dream for fear of failing, when the only way to fail is to never try, they don't almost want to see someone else do it because if they do it, they're like, damn, why didn't I do it? And then I tell you what, when I got signed to WWE back in the Florida FCW days, I came back home for Christmas, see my family, my son, and stuff. And I went to the local Chico Sports Club, and I see him there. And he goes, oh, hey, Brian, what are you doing in town? I go, oh, just in town for the holidays. And I go, hey, by the way, is John, that was his son's name. I go, is John in the NFL? And he goes, looked confused. He goes, no, why? He goes, oh, because I'm in WWE. I just thought I'd share that with you. And then I walked on out, and that was a pretty good flex. It felt pretty good to like, oh look, you doubted me, and I made it happen. Yeah,
choices, and they always come back to either support you or to haunt you. That's for sure. All right, Brian, thank you so much for being on here with me today. I forgot to add in the beginning, professional wrestler, Red Claw 1 athlete, and certified badass.
Certified badass, yes.
No, it's like,
yes.
I have no doubt you'll make it back into the ring. And I just want people to follow your journey. I'm glad you post all this stuff for people to see in the story, because I do think that it's important for people to look at that type of perseverance, because not a lot of people have that. I alone think that that's more than inspirational on its own. What is your Instagram so people can follow you?
Brian Cage on Instagram. Brian Cage, G Masai on Twitter. And it's funny too, because I want to post that kind of stuff more, but I'm so into the zone of doing it. I hate filming it. I hate posting it, because I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm not doing it for likes or clicks or I'm doing it for myself, and I want to get better. So like that's first and foremost. So like me setting up a camera to try to post something takes away from my goal, then I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So but yes, it is nice to show it out there. Like, hey, look, it's not just butterflies. It's not just magically happening. I'm making the choice to make it happen. As you say, it's about choices. But yeah, I like I said, we have no doubt that I'll come back to the ring. And what's great is I don't think I'm just going to come back to the ring. I'm going to come back to the ring even better than what I was before, because I'm going to be feeling better. And trust me, I'm already so hyped up. Even though I've been in the gym and stuff, it's obviously not the workouts I'd want to be having. And I just can't wait. I keep on seeing it. I go, oh, dude, I'm going to get such good shape. I can't wait to do this. Can't wait to try this. I have all these different workouts and different things lined up and planned out. And I'm itching for it. So, yeah, no, I have. It's going to be good. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Brian. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Good talk.